Think about the last time someone didn't text you back, or the moment you realized you weren't invited, or the look on someone's face right before they walked away. You felt it in your chest, a dull, heavy pressure. Maybe your stomach dropped. Maybe your throat tightened and you had to remind yourself to breathe. You weren't imagining it. You weren't being dramatic. Your body was in pain. Real, measurable, physical pain. And the reason it happened reaches back millions of years to a world where being left behind wasn't just uncomfortable. It was a death sentence. Here is what almost nobody tells you about rejection. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a broken bone and a broken connection. In 2003, psychologist Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA ran an experiment that changed everything researchers thought they knew about social pain. She placed participants inside an fMRI scanner and had them play a simple computer ball-tossing game with two other players. At some point during the game, the other players stopped throwing the ball to the participant. They were left out, excluded. And as they sat there, silently watching the game continue without them, something remarkable happened inside their brains. The same regions that light up when you sprain your ankle or burn your hand were activating. The dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the anterior insula, the exact same neural circuitry that processes physical pain. Social exclusion didn't just feel bad, it hurt. Biologically, chemically. In the same architecture your brain uses to register a knife through the skin, your ancestors didn't survive alone. Go back far enough and the story of your species is not a story of individual heroes. It is a story of groups, of bands of 20 to 150 people moving across dangerous, unpredictable landscapes where predators were real, where drought could wipe out a food supply overnight, where a single broken leg without someone to help you could end everything. In that world, being part of a group wasn't a social preference, it was survival infrastructure. Your tribe was your immune system, your tribe was your food security, your tribe was the reason you made it through the night. And so your brain evolved a surveillance system, a warning alarm that would fire the moment you started drifting toward the edges of the group, an alarm that was loud enough and painful enough that you would do almost anything to stop it. That alarm is what you feel when someone rejects you. Evolution didn't create two separate systems, one for physical threats and one for social threats. It piggybacked social pain onto the existing physical pain network because that network already worked. It already commanded attention. It already forced behavior change. When you touch something hot, you pull your hand away immediately. You don't think about it. Your body moves before your mind catches up. And your brain learned that if social rejection could borrow that same urgency, that same biological loudness, you would respond to it the same way. Immediately, compulsively, before you could talk yourself out of it. This is why rejection doesn't feel like disappointment. Disappointment is cognitive. Rejection is physical. Researcher Ethan Kross at the University of Michigan took this even further. His team discovered that when people looked at photographs of former romantic partners who had rejected them, the brain regions that activate are not just the emotional processing centers, they are the somatosensory cortex, the part of your brain that maps physical sensations onto your body. Looking at a face that hurt you lights up the same neural territory as an actual wound. In another study, Kross found that Tylenol, a common over-the-counter painkiller, measurably reduced the emotional pain of social rejection in participants who took it over several weeks. Not their sadness, not their mood, their social pain. The same drug that reduces inflammation and dull physical aches was doing something chemically meaningful to the way social exclusion registered in the brain. Think about what that means. Your rejection isn't a metaphor. It is a physiological event. And your body doesn't just respond in the moment, it prepares. When you anticipate rejection, when you sense that someone might pull away, that the group might turn on you, your brain launches a cascade of stress hormones. Cortisol floods in. Your heart rate shifts. Your attention narrows to threat detection. You start scanning faces for signs of disapproval. You become hypervigilant to tone of voice, to eye contact, to the slightest change in someone's expression. This is the same threat detection mode your ancestors entered when they heard a predator moving through the grass. Your body does not distinguish between a lion and a lunch table where no one saved you a seat. Psychologist Roy Baumeister spent years studying what happens to human behavior after rejection. What he found was both logical and deeply uncomfortable. People who have just been socially excluded become more aggressive, more impulsive, and more willing to take risks. Their ability to regulate their own behavior drops measurably. They eat more. They make worse decisions. Their IQ performance on tests declines temporarily. Rejection doesn't just hurt, it degrades function. Your brain, having registered a survival threat, pulls resources from long-term thinking and floods them into immediate threat response. You have felt this. You know what it is to make a stupid decision after someone made you feel small. You know what it is to eat the entire thing, to send the message you shouldn't have sent, to say yes to something reckless because part of you had stopped caring about the future the moment you felt cast out from the present. That is not weakness. That is your ancient brain doing exactly what it was built to do. It is fighting for your social survival the only way it knows how. There is something else. Something that makes this even stranger. Your brain doesn't just feel the pain of real rejection, it simulates it. You can hurt yourself with a memory. You can hurt yourself with an imagination. Lie in bed at 3 a.m, replaying a conversation from 6 years ago. Watch your brain light up the same way it would if the rejection were happening right now. Your nervous system has no timestamp function. It does not store social wounds in the past tense. It stores them as living threats that can be reactivated at any moment by the right trigger. A song, a smell, a face in a crowd that looks a little too much like the one that hurt you. And here is the cruelest twist. The same sensitivity that makes you a good friend, a careful partner, a perceptive colleague, is the exact same sensitivity that makes rejection feel catastrophic. The people who feel the deepest connection are the people who feel the deepest exclusion. The neural systems are not separate. You cannot turn up your capacity for belonging without turning up your capacity to be destroyed by its absence. Researcher John Cacioppo spent decades studying loneliness and social pain at the University of Chicago. What he found reframed everything. Loneliness, he argued, is not a personal failure. It is a biological signal, like hunger, like thirst, like pain. It exists to motivate behavior. Hunger tells you to find food. Loneliness tells you to find people. The signal is supposed to be temporary. It is supposed to be corrected. But in a modern world where social connection has become optional, where you can live in a city of millions and speak to no one for days, the alarm keeps firing, and a system that was built for temporary distress becomes chronic. And chronic social pain does to your body what chronic physical pain does. It erodes health, it shortens life. Not metaphorically, measurably. Loneliness increases mortality risk at rates comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Your body treats your relationships as life support, because for most of human history, they were. So when you feel that weight in your chest the next time a message goes unanswered, when your stomach drops because of something said in a tone that wasn't quite right, when you lie awake reconstructing a moment where you felt like the least important person in the room, know this. You are not overreacting. You are not too sensitive. You are not broken. You are running ancient software in a modern world. Software that was written when being left behind meant dying. Software that was so good at keeping your ancestors inside the group, inside the warmth, inside the protection, that it wired the threat of exclusion directly into your pain centers and refused to let you ignore it. The ache is not a flaw. It is the oldest proof you have that connection was never optional. It was always the thing your body was fighting to protect. And tonight, if something small makes your chest feel heavier than it should, remember that your body is not lying to you. It is telling you something true about what you need. Something your ancestors understood long before language existed to say it. You were never built to be alone.